Check 1, 2.
Go! Curious about real estate? Yes! Then you've come to the right place. Get the knowledge you need. Get over the fear and get started. This is the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show with your host, Michael Quarles.
Hello, everybody. Michael Quarles with the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show. Welcome to Monday. If you listened to my podcast last week, I said Monday was a great day to set a new goal to be accomplished. So hopefully we set a goal to be accomplished this week or today or this month. Something that even though you may have given up on it before or already, let's not give up on it totally and restart. It's a great way of restarting, looking at life where you just decide, okay, that was then, this is now, now is better. I'm going to continue to become better and meet and achieve and exceed my expectations of myself. So I think that's a good thing. We have podcast 187, and it consists of 5 real estate investment questions sent in by investors like yourself. And remember, if you have a question, send it to support@michaelquarles.com. One more time, support@michaelquarles.com. Here we go. Question number 1. I am so lost and confused when it comes to setting a plan and goals for my real estate business. Any advice you can offer on the subject would be greatly appreciated. Well, let's do this. That's a great question, by the way. And I appreciate you asking it because it takes a lot of courage, and a lot of folks wouldn't have enough courage to say that they need help and that they may be a little lost on setting goals. I believe that there are ways of setting goals, and I always look at goals as working backwards. So you have this time frame in mind, and I always look at annual time frames kind of thing. So I know what I want to accomplish in 2016. And I know, or by the end of it, I know in order to do those things, what I have to do by the time, 6 months before the end, and then, 9 months before the end, and then every week and then every day in order to achieve that goal. So let's write our goals down. If you need a way to do that, I have a 20-page, I believe it is, little PDF that you can absolutely request. If you would like it, just send a request to support@michaelquarles.com. Just say, hey, I want the little 20-page little booklet that Michael wrote on goal setting, and that will absolutely help you. But I want you to set goals in 6 areas of your life. One of those, of course, is business. And if it is your business goal, let's assume for a second, we're going to buy a house a month. And so that's your master goal, 12 houses this coming year. That means in 6 months from now, you should have bought a certain amount of houses. Now, I don't expect you to buy 6 because it's going to take you some time for the inertia to build up. But I expect you to have bought in 3, at least 3, if not 4. Now, some of you will buy in 6 months, you will have bought 10 or 12. And you'll look at your annual goal and you have to readjust it. That's fine too. But this worksheet's going to help you considerably. Here's the other thing about goals. If you say every day that you want to achieve something, and you write it down and then go achieve it. I mean, if you wrote it down, if it was enough of something that you wanted to do, and you wrote it down, then you just have to take the next step. A lot of us write stuff down, but we forget to take the next step. Writing it down isn't sufficient enough to make the goal happen. That's just planning for the goal. So go ahead and take the step. Go to the gym. Go to the whatever it is that you want to accomplish in your goal. Now let's look at what it takes. And I'm going to share some numbers with you. Okay? I think these are important numbers to share. The first number is 40. The second number is 18. The third number is 50. The fourth number is 80. The last number is 2.88%. What that means is if you have communicated to and with 100 people, .88% of them will sell you their house, and you'll make money. At least that's in my system, in my Alex Ryan systemized business. So I know now I divide 2.88, let's call that 3 because it's easy for rounding numbers. 3 into 100, I know that's 33 1/3. So I know that every time someone speaks to 33 1/3 people, that in fact, the good things are going to be happening. So my job, from a goal perspective, is to get to the 33 1/3. How do I do that? How do I make that opportunity happen? That's my goal. So every day that's my goal. So what do I have to have done in the past to make sure that happens? Now let's look at another number. I know that I have a 1.56% response rate on my postcard. And I also know I have an 8% response rate on my yellow letter. And I have various of 2% on some of the other pieces. So what I'm going to do is I send out 6 pieces. To make this easy, let's take 1.5, not 1.6, multiply it by 4 pieces of mail. So 4 times 1.5 is 6, plus the 2, plus the 8. So 6 plus 2 is 8, plus 8 is 16. I'm now going to take that 16 number and I'm going to divide it by my different types of pieces, which is 6. So 6 into 16 is 2.66. Now, I have to take that number divided into my 34 because I know I need 34 calls, and I know I get my call percentage is 2.66 on average. So now that tells me, it falls back to, I need 1,278 pieces of mail to go out right now to cause good things to happen for me. So if we take those numbers and we look at each individual piece, the text postcards, the yellow letter, the large text postcard, professional letter, greeting card, and zip contract, and we take those numbers up and then we divide it by 6 to get an average piece cost, and we know that that's somewhere around 68 cents a piece on an average. Well, if I take that and I multiply it by my 1,300, because I need 1,300 pieces out on average to get me that deal, then I know I'm going to be spending about $884, call it $900, because you got to put a little list in there. So you're going to be somewhere around $900 to get that lead to generate the opportunity to buy that house. And then if we reverse it and we go pay-per-click, because pay-per-click is running us right now, we've seen it anywhere from like 21 to 30. So if I use 30 times 34, I know that's 1,020. 21 times 34, then I know that's 712. So it's about the same price, whether it's direct mail or pay-per-click. So our numbers are consistent, but what we're trying to achieve is to get to 34 as fast as possible. So it's about how many chunks of $900 do you have? How many chunks do you have? Well, if you have multiple chunks, let's do multiple mailings. So if you put this in perspective, if we have a goal, if we want to buy 12 houses, we want to buy 15 houses, we want to buy 20 houses, then yeah, we've got to say how many chunks of money and how much time do we have. So we have lead capture, lead generation, lead fulfillment. So if we could go out there and we could say, on average, whatever it's cost, this is what it's going to cost me. On average, that's what I want to do. And then then fall forward with that. And keep in mind, these numbers are reflecting the fact that you get a 15% discount over at Yellow Letters if you have that platinum card. It's enormous. Without that 15% discount, I mean, it's gosh awfully expensive. So take advantage of that and let's fall forward. Understand your numbers. When you're setting goals, got to understand your numbers because that's how you set your goals. So when you ask that and you say you're lost and confused when it comes to setting a plan and goals for my real estate business, that's probably one of the ones you want to set is I want to set the phone to ring. I want the phone to ring. There's 22 days a month it should ring, okay? So let's simple terms, let's assume you want to buy a house a day. Then you know that you have to drop every day 1,300 pieces of something. And every day you do that, then it's going to buy a house. And I know that every day you do that, it's going to cost you $900. So every day to 900 times 22, $19,800. So do you have $20,000 laying around? If you do, start spending it. If you don't, I understand, back out of it. Say, okay, how much? I have $5,000 laying around, Michael. Great. Then let's do this 5 times. Let's do it every week and hit it hard. So, that's the kind of goal I think you should set. But, you set the big goal. What's the big goal? The big goal is I want to buy, 60 houses this year. I want to buy one a week or 52 houses, one a week. And how do you do that? Well, if in this case, you have to send out, according to my plan. Now, the level of education I have and the systemization that I have, which is going to be better than yours, says I have to do that 1,200 pieces every week. Well, I do a lot more than that because I want to buy a lot more houses, but that's just what you have to do. And can you see yourself dropping, spending 900 or, $1,000 on marketing every week? If you can, do it. Please do it because that's the goal. And then after a while, it won't be so bad. Trust me. I mean, we're going to have some people on telling you how not so bad it is after you get over that hump. So I appreciate the question. Question number 2, should I register my company before I get a deal done? No, I really don't believe so. The only time that you'll want to register your company before you get a deal done is if there's something against your person. So is there child support, taxes, judgments, those kinds of things that must be paid if a real property transaction happens. So you have a tax lien and it's recorded in the county in which the property is sold. You'll have to pay that tax lien out of the proceeds of the sale. If you have something like that, then yes, you need the entity to manage that. So let's wait until we start making some serious money. It's going to cost you about $5,000. At least that's what it cost me when I hired my really expensive attorney. And I always think that that's better. I've set many of them up myself in the past. I've just gotten to the point now where that's not highest and best serve of my time, even though it could save me $5,000. I'd rather it not save me $5,000. I'd rather give it to an attorney who's really, 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 really good. Partly because I know that in order to have a really good attorney on retainer, you kind of have to let them use that retainer every once in a while, or you're not top of mind for them. And it does make a difference. I want to be their, not necessarily butt buddy, but I want to be someone that they can anticipate servicing from a legal perspective. So no, don't register it in the beginning unless you have issues against your person, and then fall forward after you buy some houses. And you can always, let's assume for a second that you may or may not, you're not sure if child support's going to attach you or not. You can always take and write the contract in your person because it's an assignable contract. You don't have to say or assigns in the buyer's area. And then when they do title, they'll tell you, what is this? They'll probably ask for a payoff if they find something because they're going to pull a background on you. It's a statement of identity on you and the seller. So if there's something that comes up, then you'll have to form your LLC or your corp. And at that point, just transfer the escrow into that before you close.
Thanks for listening. We'll be right back. Are you running out of leads? It's time you tried Yellow Letters at yellowletters.com. Get motivated seller leads through Yellow Letters, postcards, zip letters, typed professional letters, greeting cards, door hangers, and business cards. Yellow Letters is a full-service marketing company created with your success in mind. Get the personal attention you need to get your direct mail campaign started and get in touch at yellowletters.com.
And we are back in 3, 2, 1.
Question number 3, I get very nervous about actually filling out a purchase agreement. How do I make sure I do it right? I think the easiest way, and this is what I advise my coaching students, and it may or may not be the easiest way, but I think it's the easiest way. I always want you to fill it out without tutelage, so without being told how to do it. And my coaching students, they fill it out and they scan it and send it back to me, and now I know their level of filling out a contract, and then I can fill in the holes. But the reality of real estate contract and filling it out, it's not just the filling out. Like, it, pretty basic, it says name, you put your name there, address, you put the address there. But there's some other things that, could get complicated, could make you look a little bit silly in the eyes of the seller if you don't do it correctly. But the biggest thing about the filling out of the real estate contract is understanding what it says. Understanding what it says. And maybe we ought to have some podcasts, they'd have to be 3 or 4 or 7 or 9 or 10 of them, where I break down, maybe I should do that. I should just break down each page of my real estate contract, make that into a 9-podcast series. Let me know if that's something you guys want to do. So again, if you'd like me to break down my 9-page real estate contract into a 9-series podcast, there has to be at least a dozen of you that want to do this, because it's way too much work if there's not. If there's 12 of you that email me and say, Mike, I want to get in on this, and the easiest way to do that is go up to contact us section on the michaelquarles.com site. Go up there and put your stuff in, and under comment says, yes to the podcast about the contract. I get 12 of you guys to do that, guys and gals, and I will absolutely create that 9-podcast series. And I'll go through how to fill one out. I'll go through all of the paragraphs in my contract. I'll explain those paragraphs so you better understand them, so you can explain them when you need to explain them. And I'll be extremely thorough in my approach to that, not leaving anything undone. But again, there has to be at least 12 of you that want that, or it's a big waste of my time, because it's a lot of time, guys, and I hope you understand that. Question number 4, how much should I set aside for marketing? Is $500 too low? You don't need any money, money for marketing. There's what we call sweat marketing and paid marketing. Everybody at some point in their life looks at sweat marketing and says, no, I don't want to sweat anymore. I want my money to market for me. But in the beginning, you don't have to have anything. Is $500 too little? It's right on the verge of me saying it is. I'd always want you to have more. I think the minimum should be at least $1,000. But if you only have 500, that means you have to, do a lot of dancing, go to a lot of places, got a lot of functions, be able to pass out those business cards, work your center of influence. And some things are fun. Let's face it, you join the Better Business Bureau, Chamber of Commerce, Lions Club, Rotary Club, Young Republicans, Old Democrats, whatever it is. You join those organizations, a cooking club, go on a wine trip bus someplace, have some fun, drink some wine, get to know people. Interact. People don't interact, which is marketing if you think about it, because if you have 6 degrees of separation and you tell 6 people what you do, and you ask them to tell 6 people that they know what they do, and they tell 6 people and they tell, then you can talk to everybody in the world, but we don't do it. So you don't need money for that. You only need money if you want to be super rich, like super, super, super duper rich. Okay. It's not a Ponzi scheme. It's not like you can do the 6 degrees of separation. Everybody give me $1. No. So $500, get in, but do other stuff besides that. You ought to be doing that anyway. Even if you're spending bucket loads of money, you ought to be wearing those red shirts that say I buy houses on them. And if you need some red shirts, we have them over at Yellow Letters. They say I buy houses on them. They got a nice little logo, so they're not offensive. They're polo shirts. They're Nike brand. They're a nice, comfortable. We've got them in men's. We've got them in women's. Just got to, just order them. I mean, they're not that expensive. For $35-$40, you get a shirt. I mean, that you're proud to wear. You get 5 of them so you can wear them one a day. And maybe you only get 3 because that's all you can afford. And you wash a couple a week. And no big deal. But, you're in a uniform that has I buy houses on it. People come up to you and they say, hey, so you buy houses? Yes, I do. Did you have a house you were hoping to sell? You know, you hand your business card. You know, we do things on purpose. We plan for our success. Getting back to the first question is, you know, how do you plan? Well, you just do. You take an effort. You say, I am going to start marketing my body as a real estate investor. Well, that's one of the ways. You start dressing like it. You make sure you have business cards on you at all times. You make sure you have 4 contracts with you at all times. And not carrying around loose hold in your hand, but, you know, in your vehicle, in your briefcase, in your purse, whatever you carry, you know, have them available for you to be successful. And you know what I'm talking about. If you've ever been in a situation where you needed something, you didn't have it, so therefore you couldn't be successful. You know, contracts are a lot like condoms, man. You've got to have one when you need one. If you don't have one, you can't use it, and then you probably shouldn't do anything in the first place. So make sure you have what you need, okay, when you need it. Question number 5. I haven't heard you mention land trusts. For the properties you buy and hold, do you put them in an LLC or land trust, and why? I used to use land trusts quite a bit. In fact, I still have a land trust that I use occasionally. And currently, I'm doing everything in a C Corp that I have dealer status in. So anything that I'm going to flip. And let's face it, most things I'm going to flip. But anything that I'm going to have passive income, I need to have that in my LLC. I can't have passive income in my dealer status business, because then I can't have the passive tax status. So I have to separate those two. So I have LLC for my rentals, and I have a S Corp because I want to be taxed personally and not corporate tax, and then get taxed the other way, because it's a double taxation, basically, tax on the dividends. And so I go that direction. But I do have a land trust I use every once in a great while, and we fall forward. But yeah, great question. If you guys need a copy of that land trust, again, if you need something from me that I've mentioned, I'm pretty free. Go up to my site, michaelquarles.com. Go to the Contact Us section. You know, put your stuff in. Yes, it's going to ask your name, your phone number, and your email. It's going to confirm all that stuff because we don't want bad information. And then just put in the comment section, Mike talked about his land trust. Can he send me a copy? If you guys want one, I don't have an issue with it. It is what it is, okay? We're here to help. My job is to help you guys. Your job is to receive, you know, the help and do something with it. Don't throw the help away. Actually implement it, utilize it, become successful, and then share the help with someone else. The only way that you can share your wealth is if you become wealthy. It's hard to share wealth without having wealth. So these are some great questions. I hope question number 1 made sense. I probably got off on a tangent when I really started getting into the micro of, you know, what does it cost on a deal? But just remember those numbers. You know, it's 40, it's 18, it's 50, and it's 80. Okay, 2.88%. And that number you should really, 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 really magnify in your brain and say, those are my numbers. That's what I want to get. I need 34 phone calls to make my life happen, and fall forward. And how do you do that? And we know that it's going to cost you $900 every time you need that to happen. So let's set a plan in action. If you need some help on marketing, yellowletters.com is great at it. I mean, they know everything I do. And call over there, talk to those folks, let them know that you heard me on a podcast, and let's get your life going. Let's change some things. And maybe you've tried direct mail before and it didn't work. Maybe you tried yellow letters before and you didn't like them. Maybe something else happened. Let's do it again, okay? Let's start up. Let's put everything behind us, water under the bridge, and let's have some focus. Listen to these podcasts. We're going to cover a lot of things. We've done almost 260 podcasts already. I know we've been doing some things, but if you have a specific question, you need specific help, by all means, jump on my Contact Me page on my website and fill out a form and see what I can do for you and how I can help you. Now, remember, if you want to stay being held accountable, especially for the person that asked question number 1, you know, all you got to do is text the word wealth to 313131, and I'm going to send you a daily reminder for 10 days. A daily reminder with a worksheet to fill out that you can fill out on your phone, and it's going to send you a copy of it, and you can stay accountable to yourself. If you have a question for me, there's a spot in there that says, how can Mike help you? Man, if some of you are saying, Mike can't help me at all, and I feel really bad about it because I think I can, but if you don't ask me for help, I can't help you. But if you ask me for help, I'm absolutely going to get involved. Then some of you may want to become an investor the way I do it. You know, want to be able to take advantage of the 1 in 34. Well, if that's the case, text the word investor to the number 313131, and that'll send you a form as well, and we'll have a conversation. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you doing what you're doing. I did have some people go on to iTunes and give me some ranking and referrals. I appreciate that. I could use some more. I can always use some more. And again, this is about you. So if you have a question, if you have a specific need, please let me know so I can help you fulfill that. That's what I want to do in life. And until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show. Get more info and stay in touch at michaelquarles.com.